حي على الفلاح.
I nourished you when you were a baby, and I looked after you in care as you grew up until you became an adolescent. You lived upon what I worked for and strived and sacrificed in my body and time and wealth, so that you may live healthy. Whenever a night passed you, when you were sick or ill or coughed, I was the first to be up, carrying you and looking upon you with my heart, afraid if an atom or a little breeze would harm you in any way. I could not sleep while seeing you sick until you slept, and then I slept.
Who has the most right for my ultimate companionship and goodness? Your mother, your mother, your mother, and then your father. If you behave rudely, harshly, incorrectly towards your parents, stubborn, arrogant, rude, foul-mouthed towards them, don't be surprised tomorrow that when your kids grow up and they behave exactly like that towards you, then that time you're going to sit and reflect, you know, damn hell, that's exactly the same way I used to speak to my father.
I don't even need to stand here and tell you from Quran and Sunnah, because the fact is, they're your parents, regardless of what Allah has said, regardless of what Rasulullah said. You must love them. There is no excuse. Why should somebody have to tell you that Allah has commanded you to love your parents? What, are you so stupid that you can't even see that these people are to be respected? You only came to dunya because of these people. And what, have you forgotten the times when you were young and you were children? Every time that they picked you up when you cried, every time they fed you when you were hungry, every time when you would excrete, that do we have to remind you that Allah has said something about this? That you and I don't have enough common sense to remember that these people should be loved.
And some brothers and sisters can't even make dua for their parents. We have that luxury, dear brothers and sisters. Hold on to your parents for as long as you can, because one day you will be burying them, and on that day you will regret.
My parents are not Muslim. My wife is in the audience and she knows how much I love my parents. And my parents love me. Every day, my dad says to me, he loves me. Many of us don't even have this as Muslims. But if my dad dies like this, where is he gonna go? You could pray for your parents. I can't pray for my dad when he dies. This is the reality, brothers and sisters. This is the reality. Don't underestimate the blessing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. Don't make it too late, brothers and sisters. Don't make it too late.
And today I wanted to talk about the person that I met, the person that I knew that inspired me more than any other human being ever has. I have a person that was not a sheikh, that was not a scholar. In fact, if you were to ask this person what madhab she followed, if you were to ask this person about some of the terms that we see floating around on Facebook today, she would not even know what they were. She's the most inspirational human being that I've ever met. And it's my mother. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on her. Because many times we look for role models, we look for heroes, and we try to find them in books, or we try to find them, as great scholars that live halfway across the world that we would never meet, but we neglect the role models and the heroes that are in our homes. How many of us would not even be here if our parents did not teach us La ilaha illallah? Yes, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides people to Islam. But at the same time, how many of us are here because our parents cared enough about us to teach us the meaning of La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah?
And that's what we want to focus upon tonight, is that kindness that needs to return back to one's parents, that many of us have forgotten. There's one business thriving at the moment, and that's the old age pensioners' homes. It's big business. Paying to have your parents just put away from you. Sounds strange, but many of us Muslims are following exactly the same methodology of thought. I'm not very startled at times to find that people with short thobes and flowing beards and faces covered, that sometimes you find vile, vulgar, repulsive language coming out of their mouths, and even cursing and swearing towards their parents. It's not surprising. But a damn good teacher and a damn good parent will always make sure there's a gap between you and them. Sometimes in our own lives, there's many things that our parents said, certain things that now, years later, you think, that's exactly what my father said to me. And I was too arrogant and too rude to accept at that stage. And he said to me, one day you're going to accept it. And that's exactly what happens. What goes around, comes around. 3 supplications are answered without any doubt in the Sahih of Imam Bukhari. A father who prays for his son, a traveler who prays whilst on a journey, and an oppressed individual. These prayers are answered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So imagine if your father's angry with you. There's some fathers who may not pray for you. They may be cursing you. They may be cursing you. They may be reviling you. And that dua unfortunately may be traveling back up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
There was a young man who came to the Prophet ﷺ complaining to the Messenger ﷺ. He said to him, Ya Rasulullah, my father takes my money. He always asks me for money. Rasul ﷺ said, well, call your father. He went to call his father. Jibreel alayhi salam came to the Prophet ﷺ in that time. And he said to him, Rasulullah, when the father comes to you, ask him, what were you saying in secret on your way here? Father was muttering something which his son couldn't hear. He said, ask him what he was saying. When the father approached the Rasul ﷺ, asked him, is it true what your son is saying? The father said, Ya Rasulullah, if he only knew what I'm using his money for anyway. I'm using it to look after his poor auntie. She is left without anybody. Where else am I putting it? Only in places where I have to. Using it towards his family. The Prophet ﷺ said, look, I want to ask you a question. Tell me about what you were saying in secret when you were coming towards me here. The father looked at the Prophet ﷺ and said, I made some verses of poetry. Rasul ﷺ said, please say them to me. And he said, oh son, I nourished you when you were a baby. And I looked after you in care as you grew up until you became an adolescent. You lived upon what I worked for and strived and sacrificed in my body and time and wealth, so that you may live healthy. Whenever a night passed you, when you were sick or ill or coughed, I was the first to be up, carrying you and looking upon you with my heart, afraid if an atom or a little breeze would harm you in any way. I could not sleep while seeing you sick until you slept, and then I slept. He said, when I ceased to see you sick, it was as if I was the one who was sick and ill, and so my eyes would always overwhelm with tears, but you never knew. And then he said, and when you finally reach the adulthood, which all my life I was anticipating and looking forward to seeing you become that. I mean, this is all he's doing, right? He's raising him, waiting for the day he's going to get married, the day when he will get his qualifications and finish, the day when he will get his skill, the day when he can stand on his feet, the day when he will rejoice, until you reach the day when I have all my life anticipated in my heart to see you reach and rejoice. You gave me a reward, and your reward was harshness and frowniness and mistreatment, as if I am the one who owes you and you owe me nothing. The way you treated me is like what a neighbor would treat his neighbor. I wish that you even gave me that. Al-Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he looked up at the father and the father looked at him, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's beard was soaked with tears. From his emotion, Al-Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam grabbed the boy from his chest. He shook him and said to him, you and everything you own belongs to your father. This hadith is narrated in Ibn Majah. Today we see children taking their own parents to court because they took their house or their property. Allahu Akbar.
وقضى ربك ألا تعبدوا إلا إياه وبالوالدين إحسانا إما يبلغن عندك الكبر أحدهما أو كلاهما. That if one of them or both of them reaches very old age with you, فلا تقل لهما أف, then don't utter the sound, don't say the word uff to them. Don't utter that sound of displeasure towards them. Don't say anything bad or abrupt or offensive towards them. It's a sound, it's not like even a proper word, it's a sound. فلا تقل لهما أف ولا تنهرهما, and don't be abrupt, don't be rude with them. وقل لهما قولا كريما, and say something very nice and respectful and noble to them. That first of all, don't disrespect them. If you notice here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us the bare minimum. Don't cross this line. He told us be excellent towards your parents, but He's showing us where the line is. Don't cross this line. Don't say oof to them. Don't be abrupt to them. Don't be rude with them. And if there's nothing else that you can do for them, there's nothing you have to offer to them, there's absolutely nothing you have to provide to them, to take care of them, to be good to them, then at the very least, just try to say something nice to them. Just try to say something nice to them. وَاخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ, and lower the wings of mercy for them. Be merciful, be compassionate, be affectionate towards them.
No matter what we do, we can never fully repay our parents, dear brothers and sisters. Not even for one moment of pain that she felt while you were in her stomach. You can never repay her. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us to make dua for our parents. رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا. Oh Allah, have mercy on them the same way they had mercy on me when I was little. Again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this very verse is proving to us that we can't repay our parents, because we're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have mercy on our parents the way they had mercy on us. Now, oh Allah, allow me to have mercy on my parents the way they had mercy on me. But only you, oh Allah, can have mercy on my parents. Only you, Allah, can show them, treat them the way they deserve to be treated. Because there is nothing I can do but make dua. So how do we talk to our parents? No, but we have this arrogance.